Breaking news from Axios. Reading now, Latine, a gender-neutral way to describe or refer to people with Latino origins, is surging in popularity on university campuses, in museums, and among researchers and media. Catch-all terms like Hispanic or Latino have come under scrutiny for blurring important nuances and presenting a large part of the U.S. population as a monolith. Latine is part of a movement centered on wanting to build and foster an inclusive community, says Carlos Zavala, vice president consulting from the consulting firm Whiteboard Advisors. 41% of U.S. Latinos in the latest Axios poll say that they are comfortable with Latine. The increased use of Latine comes as Latinx or Latinx has been phased out by some organizations or banned by officials. Latinx has been pushed by U.S. academics as a gender-neutral option for Latinos, but was criticized for using the letter X in a manner that's unnatural to Spanish speakers. Okay, well, first of all, they claim that 41% of Hispanics are comfortable with Latine, comfortable with being called something that sounds dangerously close to latrine. But then I looked at the survey they linked to, and I didn't even see that question asked. So maybe I missed it, maybe it was, but I couldn't find it. So assuming for a moment that 41% of Hispanics really did say in some poll that they're comfortable being called Latine, it's still obviously not what most Hispanics prefer. And this is not something that Hispanics came up with. Okay, this is not this. There's a reason why these terms are not originating from that part of the world. There are a lot of things that are sneaking over the border, right? But that terminology is not coming from south of the border. It's starting here, and they're trying to export it down that way. So left-wing academics are inventing these new inane terms to refer to Hispanics, and they're just trying to see which one they can get to stick. That's all that's happening. They want to find out which one is the least objectionable to the people that it labels. And then that's what they're going to go with, and that's what's going on here. Meanwhile, of course, what makes this all the more absurd is that if you're really determined to find a gender-neutral term to refer to these people, well, there's Hispanic, okay, so you can just say that, and these academics and people in media who want a gender-neutral term, they've never been able to explain why Hispanic doesn't work. Like, why can't you just say that? What's the problem? And even if you don't want that, well then, like, why not just say Latin? We call it Latin America anyway, don't we? So why do you need to affix another letter onto it? So if this really is a problem for you, then you could just say Latin, and that would cover all the bases. Instead, they're like going through every letter in the alphabet until they land on one that the people are willing to use. So it's, they started with the worst letter they could choose for this project, which is X. So they tried Latinx, that didn't work. Now they're trying Latine. If that doesn't work, you could do, Latinu, put a U at the end. Latink, put a K. How about this one? Or you could do a Z, Latines. Or Latini. Put a Y at the end. The Latini people. Regina Caeli Academy is an accredited pre-K through 12 classical homeschool hybrid academy for Catholic families in cities across the U.S. They provide in-classroom lessons 2 times a week and in-home lesson plans that support parents the other 3 days of the week. Regina Caeli Academy, with your support, has provided nearly $500,000 in student tuition assistance for the 2023 to 2024 academic year. Your participation in the Courage Under Fire Gala, a significant event in our mission to evangelize, will help us continue to provide tuition assistance in the future. Come and join me on May 24th in Nashville, Tennessee for a night of encouragement and camaraderie. I'll be speaking alongside Dr. Abby Johnson and Father Calloway on how to have courage and stand up for the truth no matter what adversity you face. We'll be joined by some of the most influential leaders in the conservative movement for a night of connection and inspiration. VIP tickets will have access to an exclusive meet and greet with all speakers. If you can't attend, please consider donating today to support families and continue to train the heart, mind, and soul. Every dollar counts. For tickets, visit courageunderfiregala.org and use promo code DailyWire at checkout. That's courageunderfiregala.org and use code DailyWire. Can't wait to see you there. But none of this makes any sense because Spanish, of course, is a gendered language. That's the language. That's what it is. And I made this point before, of course, but it bears repeating. What we see with things like Latinx and Latine, what we see with this is that this is the only form of colonization that is really happening in the world today. And it's the most objectionable form. Because colonization in and of itself, in principle, is not evil. It can be quite good. It has been a force for good historically, for the most part. You think about where the world would be. Think about where this continent would be if not for colonization. Well, we'd still be in the Stone Age. That's where we would be. But colonization can be done in sinister ways and for sinister reasons. And that's what this is. This is cultural colonization. It's ideological colonization. It is taking, American. It's left-wing American academics quite explicitly trying to impose their way of thinking and their way of speaking on an entire group of people, onto a language, trying to impose their obsession with gender neutrality onto a gendered language. And of course, this is just one facet of the overall ideological colonization agenda. There's also the, hanging pride flags on embassies in conservative Christian countries, forcing the LGBT stuff, the gender neutral stuff, the trans stuff. All of that is colonization, and it's really the only form that happens. At least it's the only form happening. It's the only form of colonization being done in the Western world, anyway. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.